Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening, and good morning, those who are living across the countries. I hope you all are keeping well and safe in this pandemic. And somebody's mic is on, so could you please put your microphone on mute, please? Thank you. I, on behalf of Tibet House, welcome you all for joining for 2 days online teachings on law of karma. And I'm Tenzin Dhamma, Program Coordinator of Tibet House. And before I would request Geshe-la to proceed the session, I'd like to make a few announcements. That firstly, we are offering the Nalanda Master Diploma course, Batch 3, which is one of our major Tibet House courses. The main aim is to acquire knowledge of various Buddhist subjects in order to deepen their understanding and Dharma practice, and to let you know how this course was formulated, that after the successful launch of ongoing 5 years Nalanda Master's course by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we felt that, especially our Geshe-la felt that there is a genuine need in the modern world to introduce the rich legacy of the Nalanda tradition in a systematic and a comprehensive way to be delivered through shorter duration courses. Therefore, we introduced Nalanda Diploma course in Buddhist philosophy in 2018. The first batch has successfully graduated in 2019, and the second batch is on the verge to completion. And more than 1,200 participants from 44 countries across the world have benefited from these 2 batches of Nalanda Diploma course. So this year, we also announced the 3rd batch of Nalanda Diploma course. The registration is open and will remain open until 31st August 2021 this year. And the teaching will commence on 1st August. And it is a 10 months course and will be taught in English language. And we also provide 75% scholarship or a concession to monastic and students, while participants from Nalanda Diploma course Batch 1 and Batch 2 and Nalanda Master's course Batch 1 can avail 50% scholarship on this course. And this is also a huge opportunity to join Nalanda Diploma course Batch 3. Perks of joining for this course can able to join Nalanda Master's course, which will commence in a later time. And NDC 1 and NDC Batch 1 and Batch 2 has already been completed and still waiting for Nalanda Master's course Batch 2 to join. So only NDC Batch 1, 2, 3 students can able to join for this course. So please feel free to join. And secondly, NUC Medical Dharma Circle Singapore organized 3 parts of Buddhist medical series, and the speaker is Geshe Doje Damdila. And the first session was completed with the topic of convergence and divergence between the view of the Buddha and the Charles Darwin. And the second session will be held on 19th July, 4:30 p.m. Indian time, with the topic Buddhist philosophy and meditation for a greater meaning of life for our medical professionals. And the third session is on Buddhist view on compassion, euthanasia, and abortion on 16 August at the same time, 4:30 Indian time. And thirdly, the third announcement would be the Tibetan Canadian Culture Center based in Canada is also organizing a Buddhism youth series led by Geshe-la, which divides into 3 sessions. The first session is on convergence and divergence between quantum physics and Buddhist philosophy on 27 June in the evening, 8:30 Indian time. And second session is on Buddhist philosophy of emptiness and dependent origination and its application in our daily life on 11 July in the evening, 8:30, the same time, Indian time. And the third session is on introduction of Buddhist psychology and healing of our mental stress on 18 July at the same time. And fourthly, Tibetan is also organizing a teaching on 3 principal aspects of the path. In Tibetan, it's called Lamtso Namsum by Lama Tsongkhapa, which will be held on Wednesday, 14 July, and the date also corresponds to Chokor Tujin, and it honors a day that the Buddha Shakyamuni first taught the 4 noble truths in Sarnath, India, and considered to be first turned the wheel of Dharma. And it on that day, it also Tibetan also observed the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And last but not the least, Ngari Gasiling, based in Assam, in collaboration with us, we organized the Lamrim teaching program from 12 June to 13 August. And we are at the verge of 4th session, which is on 4 Noble Truth, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. in Indian Standard Time. So we still kept the registration open to join for the rest of the sessions. So therefore, I'll share all the registration links and the details in our chat box, and please feel free to register. And those who could not able to catch up with the pace the way I speak, or are confused with the programs that I announced, please mail me at pc@tibethouse.in. I'll repeat, pc@tibethouse.in. Thank you, and thank you for your patience, and I'll request Keshila to kindly proceed the session. Thank you.
Okay, Tashi Delayed, all of you. It is again a great joy for me to meet with all of you. And the 2-day teaching is on the law of karma. And meanwhile, this teaching, how it came into being, is that Mr. Bhaskarji from Nari Gazeling, the founding director of Nari Gazeling Dharma Center in Guwahati, Assam. At one point, he asked me if there's a possibility that the law of karma teaching can be done. And of course, coming from a very serious the practitioner and who takes enormous responsibility to bring about goodness on planet Earth, to share the knowledge, wisdom, creating a platform to do that. And thereby he created this Nari Gazeling, supported by his friends. And then he sought His Holiness, the blessings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and even the name of the center was actually blessed and given by His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself. Then he was responsible in inviting His Holiness to Assam to give public addresses and so forth. And he made this request, and for sure, we take it as a very auspicious indication. And yes, of course, we need reminders of the law of karma. This is extremely important, and which, of course, is the one which operates the whole universe. At the same time, we are being so oblivious. Because of being oblivious, the tendency is that the operational law of karma, we tend to deny, we tend to reject, we tend to just ignore, be negligent of the effects of law of karma. So that's very important for all of us, including myself. And I'm extremely thankful to Mr. Bhaskarji. And would you mind raising hands so that everybody can identify you, Mr. Bhaskarji? Mr. Bhaskarji, would you mind raising a hand? Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay,
Thank
so
you,
first what we do is that it's going to be quite the heavy material, not difficult, but a lot of materials to cover. And then we are only two sessions. So I don't know how we can manage that. And so I'll try my best to incorporate as the much of the materials as possible. So with this mind, law of karma, this is a very important concept. And of course, we need a lot of merit on the basis of the individuals in order to really say they meet with these teachings and then imbibe these teachings. We require a lot of merit, number one. Number two, that once we're able to understand what the law of karma is, and accordingly, if we abide or if we follow the principles, the life in accordance with the law of karma, then there's a tremendous possibility for one to accumulate enormous amount of merit. And the Buddha taught that those meritorious beings, their wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. So this is how it works. And as the indication, as a gesture of preparing ourselves to listen to what this law of karma is, and it be for myself as well, personally, to reflect on this law of karma and to share this with what I've received from my teachers, to share with you. It's not that easy. So we need a lot of merit accumulation and purification of the negative karmas. For that matter, we're going to have the screen sharing of this mantra, Ye Dharma mantra. And before we recite this mantra, I'll quickly explain what the meaning is and then try to understand the meaning of this mantra, and thus understand law of karma on the basis of this mantra. Okay, okay. As we word it. Okay. Okay. The first I will be while Aprum Konede is switching from the Tibetan to the English. I'm going to quickly share with you the meaning of this mantra, which is extremely important, and this will make things very easy for us to reflect on the law of karma in its complete form. And in fact, this mantra, of course, the Buddha taught in many places, and one place for sure where the Buddha taught this mantra was the Tushita heaven. Oh, I'm getting mixed with the 37 heaven, 37. The 33 heavens, 33 heavens. This is the place where the Buddha presided over, and then the Shariputra, and the Aravalokiteshvara was there. Then Aravalokiteshvara and seeing that the god and goddesses, numerous god and goddesses, they came to pay respect to the Buddha. Then Aravalokiteshvara stood up to make prostrations to the Buddha Shakyamuni, and then reported this to the Buddha, that all these god and goddesses came to pay respect to you, and they want to learn how to accumulate enormous amount of merit, merit which equals the merit of the Brahma, which means that the merit that you accumulate this amount, which allow you to take birth in such the realm, very auspicious realm, which require enormous virtues, enormous merit. Then the Buddha taught this mantra, Ye Dharma mantra. Okay, and the meaning, as you see down there, all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. All phenomena arise from causes, meaning that the experiences of happiness that we are seeking, experiences of the pain and the fear that we are experiencing, they all come about not randomly, but from the corresponding causes. Ye Dharma, these phenomena, hetu prabhava, hetu cause, prabhava arise. These phenomena arise from their causes. And what are the causes? Hetum tesham tathagato hyavadat. What are the causes is indicated by the Tathagata, the Buddha. or the awakened one, enlightened one, meaning that there are innumerable Buddhas, not only one Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni, there are innumerable, so many Buddhas before Buddha Shakyamuni. So they all taught what are the causes of the miseries and how to bring an end to these causes in order to terminate, in order to curb the experience of the pains. It is also taught by the great seer, the great enlightened beings. Tathagato Hyavatat Esham Chayo Nirodha. Esham Chayo, these, Nirodha, cessation, Evam Vati, Evam thus, Vati taught, Evam Vati Mahashamana, great seer. So that's taught by the great seer. In other words, the happiness and the miseries that we go through, they all arose from their respective causes. What are the causes? Contaminated karma. So this is what we are talking. Contaminated karmas, which in turn are triggered by the afflictions, in turn triggered by the inappropriate attention, and finally by being sucked up in the dream of the misrepresentation of the reality, ignorance. Okay, so with this mind, they just to make the most of these two sessions, and let us visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in space in front of you to bless you, that each one of us will learn the maximum out of this, not only that we learn, but see how much we can implement them in our life, that the benefit accrues. And imagine that your two parents, all the family members, including children, and all sentient beings around you, to learn about this, to receive blessings from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and you are leading this, and all beings are joining you. Okay, with this mind, let's recite this 3 times. And those of us who do not know how to recite it, don't worry, just listen to us, and then join us. And those of us who know how to recite this by reflecting on the meanings. Okay, ready? Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat esham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat esham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato yavatat esham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamanaye swaha. Okay, followed by the Heart Sutra mantra. This mantra, Tyatha means here is thus. Gade gade para gade para samgade bodhiswa. Just imagine that you are in on the place, on the very spot where the Buddha actually taught this, where all these, where this event actually happened. That is in Rajgir. I'm sure many of you went there. Just visualize that you are there, and the Buddha presiding over the congregation, and then Aravuruteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, and Shariputra. Two of them, they were on two sides, surrounded by all the monks, nuns, bodhisattvas, and the devotees. They're all there to listen to what the Buddha has to teach, what the dialogue between Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra was to happen. And just imagine you are there, and then the Buddha is exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Don't remain in the fears of the samsara anymore. Come towards the ultimate happiness. And you hearing this, what the Buddha taught, you then inform this to parents and to all their mother sentient beings. Look, this is what a very compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni exalts us. Let us not remain in fears anymore. You say all of us with the experience of the fear and the feeling of the uncertainty due to COVID-19. We all had that feeling. What was that like? It was so scary, and as well like your life is so ephemeral and it's so fragile and totally uncertain. Anytime we can simply annihilate. That kind of the uncertainty actually gripped us, each one of us, and this reality. So this was the and this feeling is totally something unbearable. We cannot really bear it. We want to evade. We want to get out of this. And imagine that this is what you are telling all the sentient beings. Just listen to what this great teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, is saying, and let us not remain in the samsara anymore. Let us all go towards a full awakening by waking up from the state of ignorance. So this is what you're telling that everybody so happily joins you in this journey of cleansing the mind to awaken the seed of perfection within yourself in the form of Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sambhava Bodhisattva. Okay, let's say this 7 times together. Meanwhile, reflect on the meanings. Gade Gade Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate 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 Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay. For this, the law of karma, this is a concept which was being discussed, debated for the last many millennia, if not like at least like for the last like 3 millennia, like 3,000 years minimum, and particularly in Asia, in India, these discussions, debates, and thinkers were actually thinking, what must be the reason for this universe to come into being? And what could be the reason? In other words, how come that it evolved in this particular form? This was a huge question. Perhaps some of you might have also thought about it in your own ways. And some people, when they see the human biology, they are so fascinated by this, the human biology. How come that is so self-contained inside us and very sophisticated? Although physics, in physics, one of the basic principles is the principle of the entropy, which means that the nature is to constantly go from the state of the orderliness to the state of the disorderliness. In other words, things become more and more disorder. So this is the belief in physics, the principle of physics. At the same time, when you look at the human biology, since the time like say 4 billion years ago, 4 billion years ago, when the first unicellular organism came into being on this earth in the water. The water came 4.5 billion years ago, according to physics. And then the 4 billion years ago, the first unicellular organism came into being. And then from this very simple structure there, very simple structure, from there it became more and more sophisticated, very sophisticated, and become even more orderly as opposed to entropy. Even more orderly to the extent that 0.3 million years ago, then it became so much in the form of the sophistication of the human body. The human came into existence 0.3 million years ago. And if you look at it, what created this? From this tiny unicellular organism to till today, and particularly 0.3 million years ago. So what made this sophisticated the human body, biology? And then look at the solar system, then the Milky Way galaxy, and the whole universe. What caused this universe? This was a question which really hit the human beings since many years ago, particularly like 3,000 years ago. There were so many debates, discussions happening amongst the thinkers. So that was in Asia, particularly in India. Then in the West, likewise, there were thinkers. So particularly in India, this is amazing. Some thinkers, they thought that the matter, atoms, in other words, atoms today, in scientific terms, we can speak of the atoms. The atoms are responsible for the formation of the universe. That was as old as the 3,000 years ago. And the term atom is newly coined, but they talk about the partless particles. The particles as the ultimate cause of the universe, number one. Then there's some thinkers say that no, it's not the partless particles, it's the time. Time is the creator of the whole universe. Time created because time decides. Say 2021 is the year 2020 and 2021. These are the COVID years. Time decides. And then before that, no, for 100 years, nothing. Then 100 years before that, 1918, 1919, then the Spain flu. Again, the time decided. So one class of thinkers said that time is the creator of the universe. And then there's another category who said, no, there must be some agent, some external agent. It's not about the time, it's inanimate object. No, there's an animate object. There's an animate object which decides everything. Okay, so in those days, particularly in India, there was rigorous debates happening among these thinkers, and all these rejections, rebuttals were happening in those days. Then I talk about the partless particles as the universe origin, as the origin or as the creator of the universe. One ends up in so many internal contradictions. Likewise, time as the cause of the universe again ends up in contradictions. And then as an external agent, again you end up with lots of contradictions. And there's no need for us. There's no need for us to really go and fight against other people who believe in some external agent as the creator of the universe and so forth. But we should know things very objectively. What's the reality? That's very important. So with this in mind, what I'd like to share with you is, first, let us begin with a very objective approach. Very objective approach. Let us come with a clean slate. Clean slate meaning that nothing as a baggage, some kind of your own suppositions and so forth. Just keep them aside and come with the open mind, ready to ask any question. So this should be our approach. And then we will appreciate this concept more. Otherwise, you come with already existing some kind of belief system. Then if you come with the piece of cloth already colored, and they want to color it to blue or green or some other color, it's very difficult. So what is important is come with a clean slate. The point is that we should be benefited, that we want to get rid of the suffering, we want to embrace the maximum happiness for that purpose. Okay, so with this in mind, all these discussions were happening. Okay, then in this regard, the 2,500 years ago, even before the advent of Buddha Shakyamuni, they say that one category of the thinkers who said that no, it is your own karma. It is your own karma responsible for this formation of the universe, formation of the individual happiness, individual suffering, individual environment, and so forth. This is your own karma. So our question is, what is karma? This one thing. Then what did the Buddha say on this? As to what caused the universe, what caused you, and so forth. And in fact, last time, as our Prabhu coordinator Jumala made an announcement, just about a few days ago, the Medical Dharma Center of Singapore is a group of medical doctors, both the doctors, full-fledged doctors, and the medical students composed of this group, and they made a request to give series of talks to them. The first was on the divergence and the convergence on the concept of brain and the mind between the Buddha Shakyamuni and Charles Darwin. So there we discussed as to how, the concept of brain and mind has been conceived of by the Buddha Shakyamuni 2,500 years ago, and 300 years ago, what Charles Darwin said, or 200 years ago, what Charles Darwin said. So we discussed this in one session. So here, what the Buddha has to say on the law of karma, this is one thing. And keep in mind that I come with a clean slate, which means that not out of faith in the Buddha, or what the Buddha said must be true. No, don't come with this belief. The Buddha himself made it very clear that just as the goldsmith tests the purity of the gold by cutting, rubbing, and burning the gold, you should also examine my words and put them into practice, not simply because you respect me. So this should be the basic criteria on the basis of which we study these concepts, that we don't come with the belief system, or in other words, we don't come with them, the prior belief, or a blind faith. Just see how much you can really understand it, whether it makes sense to you. And at times, it may not make sense to you right away, but don't reject it outrightly. Don't embrace it outrightly. Just keep it there, and then subject this to the analysis, and it may take some time for you to really be able to be very convincingly to say that this does not hold true, or yes, it does hold true. Okay, with this in mind, what the Buddha had to say. So the Buddha categorically taught that every instant of our experience, they all arise from the previous actions, which we technically call as the karma. And oftentimes I avoid using the word karma because this word is used so much in a misconceived way, in a misguided way, to see that karma as to like some kind of external force out there determining what you're doing. But this is misguided information. This is why I try to stay away from this word. But here, given that we are exclusively explaining the law of karma, so there's no harm to use this word, since that we're going to explain in more detail what the karma actually is. So with this in mind, the Buddha indicated that anything, whatever is happening, is related to one's own karma that you've done in the past. Past doesn't mean past life. It can be past yesterday. It can be the past 2 years ago, or it can be like the past like 10 years ago, or it can be the past like 30, 40 years ago, or the past life, or hundreds of lives before. So this past mean a lot. I mean, in the same, there are various. It can refer to different the passage of times. Okay, and I personally, I like to share this person at the note with you, mind. It's very important that when you study these things, see what your personal experiences are. Personal experiences you have, you try to bring them here, and don't just reject these experiences. No, just say that, oh, this is it, and then nothing really is beyond this. Because what you've experienced, it may require more nuanced interpretation. This is something that we need to keep in mind. So what happened was that perhaps like 15, 20 years ago, when I was in my monastery, Terminal monastery, I really used to just feel the awe. In other words, I was literally mesmerized by the workings of the universe. What happened is that in my monastery, there's water. At times, there is water scarcity problem, and I was just wondering, how come that this water? We are getting this water from where? Are we getting water from a river? No. Are we getting water from some snow? No. Are we getting water from, say, the ocean? No. Where are we getting water? We are getting water from the bore well. Bore well meaning you dig the well, and then from there you get the water. Then I was thinking, where is this water coming from? Bore well water, where is it coming from? This is my question. There must be a source. And then eventually, finally, the somehow it has to be tracked back to the mountains. Directly, indirectly, somehow it's connected to the snow mountains. That's very fascinating. And so how this water, so the, yeah, okay, so let's say this water and the snow on the mountain. And then while I'm sharing my experience, you just be with me, flow with my thoughts, and see it makes sense to you. And likewise, you must have your own experience. So you try to correlate with your own experience as well. So the first, it snows on the mountaintop. And then the mountaintop, the mountains, they hold the snow. And then the sun shines, and part of it melts. It melts, not all, some part of it melts, and then it flows down in the form of a river, in the form of a river. And the people at the base of the mountain, they benefit directly from this river, and it flows further. And people on the plains also reap the benefit. And then because it travels a lot, and it's very hot, it can evaporate. So therefore, it goes down the earth. It goes down the earth, not just on the surface of the earth all the time. Part of it just goes down the earth, and so through the earth from below, it travels. And then people in the plain where the river is not available, these people just dig a well, you can water there. You will use it. And then the sewage water, again, you throw it somewhere, and it merges with the river, it goes to the ocean. And then from the ocean, okay, we need to recycle this water. We cannot do it. Never mind, there's the sun. Then sun evaporates the ocean. And then the condensation happens, or evaporation happens. in the form of the, say, the word cloud. And the cloud usually goes to the top of the mountain. It doesn't hover around the plains. It goes to the top mountain and throw the snow there. Again, that's amazing. Throw the snow there. Wow, this is amazing. I was just wondering, how come that? Who's doing it? Who's dictating this operation? It's amazing. And then on top of that, the in my place, the farmers. The farmers, I'll say, around the month, or I think the March, then the farmers, they started to plow the land, and then they first plow the land meaning they just make the land real soft, and it rains to all these the earth. They are being even made more soft by this rainwater. Then the farmers, rain stops. Then the farmers go there, they plant the seeds, throw the seeds there. Then once the seed is thrown, then again it rains for the next like 1 week. Again rain stops. So what? Then to remove the weed, because the weed also grow, remove the weed. It's so fascinating. Then after that, it rains continuously for about like one, say like few weeks, continuously. And that's for the growth of the crops. Then the crops grow so well, then the rain stops. That's the time you have to do the harvest. I was just wondering, how come that the cloud, the sky, the weather, they know that the farmer needs time now. They have to go to pluck the weed. Now they have to go to, how does it know? And or who is dictating what? I was so fascinated. So in my own capacity, two conclusions came to me. Either there's a God, an agent who decides, okay, now I should throw water there. Sometimes miscalculation happens. Too much water, and the farmers they cannot even plant the crops. And then when the crop they are growing full, no need of water. Again, so much water, all the crops are damaged. So some miscalculation also happens. If it is God, so God also is mistaken sometimes. So I was just wondering, and if we talk about the God as a creator, then there's so many questions coming up we cannot answer. You end up with a lot of internal contradictions. Who created God then? This next question. God is even more mysterious than this operation of the water cycle. And then who created this God, which is an amazing figure? We have no answer. So then the only option left is the law of karma. Okay, this is what we need to explore. So don't just take blindly. What I'm saying is, don't just take blindly, follow blindly, explore these things. They are so important. Okay, with this, what the Buddha taught was that this karma, there are two basic principles of the karma, two basic principles, which cannot be twisted anywhere. The first line, the first principle is that one will not reap the effect of the karma which you have not accumulated. No results of the karma which you have not accumulated. Number one. Number two, karma accumulated, there's no escape from the result. There's no escape, there's no wastage of the effect of the karma one has accumulated. In other words, okay, these are the two things that we have to remember. This is very important. In Tibetan, le mache pada metepa. Le mache pada metepa means that a karma which you have not done will not ripen you any effect. You will not have to go through the effects of the karma which you did not do. Number two, le cheba chu mesawa. Le cheba chu mesawa means a karma done will invariably, or the effect of this karma will not be damaged or will be efficacious. Okay, these are two basic principles that we need to keep in mind for change of karma as taught by the Buddha. Okay, then many questions arise, many questions can arise that, say for example, say like we accumulate so much of negative karmas, and then isn't there any possibility to come out of the effect of the negative karmas? Is it necessary that once the negative karma is accumulated, you're bound to experience the result, and then there's no role for purification? All these questions are there, but these require more in-depth studies. Okay, in other words, yes, purification is possible. So the thing is that a karma accumulated, the results are efficacious, meaning that provided no purification happens, then the results invariably will be given rise to. Without the purification process or the counterforce introduced, then the results of the karma are invariably being seen. Okay, these two are the things that we are not to forget. In other words, any experience of pain that we go through, for the Tibetans, for example, say we have lost a country. We have lost a country. And yeah, it's extremely painful. So even that pain of the young child who was born to a Tibetan family, he or she did not do anything wrong, but why this child has to suffer throughout his life as a refugee? Why? Of course, related to one's karma, and within the karma, there are many categories. One is the individual karma versus the collective karma, and the uncertain karma versus the definite karma. And there are so many classifications of karma which we're going to study in these 2 days. Okay, so let's not forget this. With this in mind, some of you may be wondering, what exactly is karma? What exactly is karma? This is the next question. And once you know what exactly is karma, then it will leave no room for people to abuse the concept of karma. Oftentimes, when we don't know the concept of karma so well, and yet we have a belief in law of karma, and then the people easily abuse this concept. And then, you know, say if you're a little intelligent, you may end up just discarding the concept of karma, which is extremely unwise. Okay, what exactly is karma? So in other words, we see that His Holiness has been extremely practical. His Holiness has been extremely practical. One time, I'm sure many of you have heard this, His Holiness saying that in Bihar, when His Holiness was invited for a public gathering by the Chief Minister of Bihar, and the Chief Minister in his speech, he taught that with the blessings of the Buddha, may the state of Bihar flourish. And then the next was His Holiness's speech, and His Holiness, what he said, yes, that's true. If it is purely the Buddha's blessings, then the Bihar should have been thriving since many hundred years ago. Bihar have been one of the poorest states in India. So it is not only the Buddha's blessings. Buddha's blessings, if that alone helps, then the Bihar should have been the one which thrives the most for the last many years. But it did not happen. So the blessings of Buddha must happen through the blessings of the Chief Minister's action. If he does not put into action, put into generous actions, then nothing will happen. Just waiting for Buddha's blessings is just extremely unwise, totally impractical. In other words, what His Holiness is saying is that actions are required from the Chief Minister, who has the power. Actions. What is action? Action. This action is coming from the intention inside. That action driven by the intention, that is known as karma. Karma, there's nothing as a special there. Action driven by this intention is the karma. Okay, so in other words, we see that where people are not really working, just planning, talking, not working, not putting in actions, nothing will happen. Even if you talk about the best of the cuisines in the world, you just sit at the table, you talk about the best of the cuisines, how to prepare all these things, no cuisine will come to you. So after talking about these things, we must engage in action to actually cook. There must be the act of cooking. Then the food will come. So in other words, karma is the action in the form of intention or the action driven by the intention. Let me repeat it. If somebody were to ask, what is karma? Karma is the mental intention or the actions driven by the mental intention, mental act of the intention, or the physical verbal actions driven by the intention. Three things: physical, verbal, and mental. So the element of the intention must be there. Okay, so and then we see that what kind of actions do we see? What kind of actions do we see? For example, let's say that you, okay, somebody knocks at the door. Somebody knocks at the door very harsh like this. Or somebody knocks at the door very gently. Or somebody says, hello. Somebody says, hello. So there, whatever the person, this act of the verbal act or the physical act, you can just tell it, hello, hello. So this act is all determined by the thought. When the thought is rough, it is expressed in the physical and the mental roughness or the physical roughness. When the thought is very gentle, you will feel it. It's tender, you can feel the tenderness. Whereas when the thought is rough, although the physically you try to be tender, you don't feel it tender. When the mind is very tender, you can feel the tenderness there. This is so important. With this in mind, okay, with this in mind, what is karma? Karma is the act of the mental intention or the physical and verbal actions dictated by this mental intention. This is the karma. Okay, so now with this in mind, the karma, how is it that the karma is accumulated? The karma, how does one accumulate karma? So the mechanism of the karma. I'm going to quickly explain this. Say that, okay, first let me say this. We're talking about this one. What kind of the karma, in other words, is action. It's action. Action, physical, verbal, mental actions is known as karma. And then it can be little vague to say just action, because there are so many kinds of actions, activities. For example, say when the AC is on, the prayer flags here, prayer flags move. There's also action. Is that karma? And then I move my hand. Is this karma? Or let's say when the rain falls, then the slope, the land becomes wet, and then say with this, okay, let's say the morning sunshine, then sunflower turns the flower turns towards the flower, the flower turns towards the sun. It moves towards the sun. Is that a karma? These are all actions. So with this, we see that then we become more refined. We have to, look for the okay, that's true. Karma is action, but there are so many actions which are karma or not. This is questionable. Okay, so from this question, let's say that under the scorching sun, the flowers droop, the vegetations droop. Let's say the flower, the very tender a fragile flower droops. Is that there's action there? There's action happening. Is that karma? Answer is no. And in the morning sunshine, then the sunflower turns its head towards the sun. Is that a karma? There's an act of turning. Movement happens. Is that there's movement there? There's action there. Is that karma? No. What is karma? This question. Okay. So where this flower, this is very important. This sunflower, it turns its head towards the morning sunshine. It's purely because of the chemical reaction. It's purely because of the chemical reaction. It's not because that it is thinking that, oh, there's a sun there, I must turn towards the sun. No. And when there is there's a scorching sun, then immediately after that, there's rain shower, and it cools down. This act of cooling down the whole area. Is there some sort of movement? Yes. Is there karma? No, that's not karma. It's a natural cause and effect relationship. In other words, this universe is operating on the basis of the cause-effect relationship. Within the cause and effect relationship, there are two kinds. One which is driven by intention and one which is not driven by the intention. So cause and effect operation driven by the intention, this is known as karma. Okay, let's not forget it. The cause and effect, within that there are two classes. One driven by the intention and the other not. For example, let's say that this flower, I put it here on the table, and then I hit this flower, and the flower falls. Flower falls, and the flower does not have the intention to come back. Whereas if there is, say, a small monkey, and then I push him, and he falls down, and he will come back. He has the intention to come back, provided there's some edible on the table, he'll come back. So that is what makes him to come back. Why the flower is not coming back? Because the flower does not have the intention. And whereas why this monkey is coming back? Because there's intention within this monkey. So this act coming back is driven by the intention. Whereas the flower not coming back is because there's no intention there. So therefore, any act involved with the intention, that is karma. Act without the involvement karma, intention is non-karma. In other words, cause and effect operation, there are two kinds. One is karmic cause and effect, and the other is non-karmic cause and effect. Let's not forget it. Okay. So the karmic cause and effect, from this, what we can say is that any experience. So right now, let's say the jelly is a little warm. I would say it's not really hot as such. It's warm and it's not really comfortable. But we have the AC here, aircon. With the aircon, and I could feel the breeze, and it's very pleasant. What I'm experiencing is pleasant breeze. If I don't have the karma to feel this pleasant breeze, I'll not feel this. The fact that I'm feeling the pleasant breeze, or say at times if the aircon is too strong, I could feel the piercing the coldness. So I don't like this. These are all the effects of the actions which I did in the past. In other words, any experience, pleasure, pain, happiness, joy, whatever that you go through is necessarily because of your own previous act driven by the force of intention. This is known as the karma and its effects. Let's not forget this. And for this, what I'd like to share with you is that one thing which is extremely important is that this karma, that is one is known as the law of karma, how it operates. This is the extremely sophisticated, and we must know this, and on that basis, finally, we should be benefited. Finally, that if I ask what you want and what you don't want, is that okay? COVID is there, COVID. With the COVID, we never know. Any time anybody can die because of COVID. We never know. Don't think that I'm being so inauspicious in my words. It's very true. Anytime anybody can die due to COVID. Someone who's very healthy now can have COVID tomorrow. And in some places which were being kept so isolated to protect from the COVID, and suddenly, through some way, the COVID gets into, and the people there, 60, 70, 80, 100, in a small community consisting of like 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 400 people, just it spreads so fast. And from there, how many can survive? We never know. You want that experience. No, wait, I don't want this. Finally, the point is that whether you accept law of karma, not accept law of karma, act according to karma, don't act according to karma, is up entirely to the individual. And the point is that the point is that we should be doing things which will make us be freed from suffering, which would make us embrace happiness. This is the point. This is the point. And if by discarding the law of karma, and then you really get a genuine happiness that you're free from COVID-19, if that's happening, rejecting karma as your dharma. Whereas embracing the law of karma, your peace of mind is restored and your agitation subsides. That is your dharma. This is why it's so important. And at the time of Buddha, what happened? This is very interesting. This is what I learned about the efficacy of the law of karma. Efficacy of the law of karma, the anecdotes of the efficacy of the law of karma at the time of Buddha. And then in 2014, what happened? These two are very similar. Okay, one was like the story, like a legend, or like a story. One was actually what happened, and working, wow, this is exactly, now there's no need for us to talk about law of karma on the basis of these past stories. It's something which is even happening today. What happened was that at the time of Buddha, there was one nun who was extremely eloquent speaker, a great practitioner, and eventually she became arhat, meaning that she's able to get rid of all the mental defilements and became arhat, be free from samsara. And she's left with just this physical body. And then once she leaves this body, then she's liberated. In other words, she will not have to repeat this cycle of samsara anymore. So she became a great teacher, arhat, blessed teacher. And she had about like 500 students, non-students. And she was giving a discourse to these 900 students. And it so happened that there was a group of burglars who just surrounded the whole campus of 500 nuns. And then they put this to blaze, whole campus to blaze. Then the nun teacher was also inside, the arhat. She was also inside, and all her students were there, and she sensed, and all the nuns sensed that, okay, now we are on fire. What then some are screaming, and she said, okay, don't scream, just stay where you are. And then she, being arhat, and also that she had clairvoyance, she could recall the past events, the past karma is responsible for the effect, the ripening of the effect, what is happening now. So she said that, okay, we cannot escape from this blaze, she said. We cannot escape from this blaze, including myself. This is the ripening of a very powerful collective karma, which we're going to learn later what is collective karma. Ripening of a very powerful collective karma, and a very powerful meaning, a definite karma. Again here, a definite karma and an uncertain karma, individual karma and the collective karma. So the various classifications are there. So she said that this is a ripening of a very definite collective karma. We cannot escape from this effect. Instead, she advised her students that just own this, own that, yes, in fact, this is the effect that I'm experiencing now because of the karma which I did, which we did collectively in the past. This is known as, in Tibetan, we call it Le Dagirchwa. Le Dagirchwa means accepting the karma that you have done, which is now ripening in the form of undesirable effects. So she advised her students to accept this as the karma, collective karma, which they did, ripening in the form of this blaze. This was what she advised her students to do. Then what happened was that from there, the one lady who was more like this, the servant, the maid, she was also there in this, and she somehow got through a ditch, got through a sewage, and escaped. She survived. The rest of the 500 nuns, they all died. And then the message, this information was reported to the Buddha, and the Buddha exactly said what this the nun teacher said. The Buddha said that, in fact, many lifetimes ago, these 500 nuns together, they were a group of burglars. And what they did was that they just come in, they unanimously decided to kill somebody. 500 nuns, the 500 burglars, they unanimously decided to kill somebody. And then the one burglar said that, okay, if you ask me to rob that person, yes, I will agree with you. But if you decide to kill, I'll not agree. So one burglar pulled out from that decision that I don't agree with you killing the person. If you rob, is fine, but killing, I don't agree. So one person pulled out. So because mentally that person pulled out from that negative karma, killing somebody, and others, they decided, yes, go ahead. Although 500 people cannot be really there to kill one person, all the 500 physically involved there, but they all decided, took the decision. So they all accumulated negative karma of killing. And then one pulled out from this act of killing. So this, out of 500, the maid who escaped was the one who pulled out from making the decision of killing, and the rest, they felt the experience of being burned alive by the blaze. Okay, this was the anecdote at the time of the Buddha. And 2014, I'm not too sure how many of you could remember that anecdote. 2014, how many years now? 7 years. 7 years in the past. In Pakistan, there was a shooting in a school, in Peshawar. School shooting happened. 149 and about 132 children and the remaining staff were killed in this shooting. And I'm sure some of you could still remember that. It came out in the news. And then the next day when I was reading the news, there were two anecdotes. This is exactly what the story of the nun teacher and the maid who escaped, and the 500 nuns who died in this blaze. So there was one boy, young boy, who must be aged like 12. And he was a regular student. And one day he overslept. And he could not go to school. He overslept because he overslept that very day. And the next day he went to school. All his friends disappeared. So he escaped. And then another story, with the same situation. There was a very extremely young girl, perhaps age 4 or 5, very young girl, going to the school for the first time in her life, the first day of school. First day, she went there and she got killed. So this is where the karma operates. So therefore, we really need to reflect on the operations of the karma so well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now I'd like to speak a little bit about the classifications of the karma. Classifications of the karma. Okay, I think before the classification, I would, okay, yeah, classification first, then followed by the, say, the kinds of the karma. Kinds meaning that what could be like the effects of the karma. Once you do the karma, then what kind of effects gathered? Okay, classification of karma. One is what is known as the projecting karma versus the completing karma. This is one thing. Then one is the uncertain karma versus the definite karma, two. Then the individual karma versus the collective karma. Okay. First, the projecting karma versus completing karma. What is projecting karma and completing karma? Okay, say each one of us, we are born as a human being. We're born as a human being. Yes, of course, human being. This is very, say, positive birth, which means the karma responsible for us to be born as human being must be very the positive karma or virtuous karma, very powerful virtuous karma. So we see that we being human being, for example, if somebody lives for say 90 years or 100 years or 80 years, let's say 80 years, this projection, the person was projected to take birth as a human being once. Once meaning that he or she is projected to take birth as a human being, and then while being as a human being, the person can go through various experiences, sometimes happy, sometimes unhappy, sometimes ill, sometimes healthy, and sometimes with good friends, someone with bad friends, and so forth. But in all along, the birth is the one, only one birth, that you are born as the human. That is continuing for, like, say, if you are to live for 80 years, that continues for 80 years. So all along, you have numerous experiences. When you're in school, some children, they bully you. There's always a bully problem there. Bully you. And then you just feel that how I wish that I complete my schooling. I don't want to go to school. Then you finish school, then you get into college and you get some form of freedom. And then some people, they bunk the class, they bunk the college, and all these things happen. And some people, they pick up very bad habits. Some people, they become very good. And then the next phase, we see that there are different phases within the one continuum of you being born as a human. So, and some born as the god and goddesses, some born as animals, some born as hell beings, some born as hungry ghosts, and so forth. So, which means that although we go through different experiences, sometimes very painful experiences, sometimes very happy experiences. So we see that one is all alone. There is one, the birth. The birth. What projects the birth? Say for 80 years, your birth will not be changed. Your birth is just one. You're a human being. You're a human being. So that is project that karma to project you as a human being, or to project you as a god and goddesses, or as animal, or as hell beings, hungry ghosts, whatever. That karma to project you. This is known as the projecting karma. Okay. Projecting karma in Tibetan is penchele, projecting karma. Then Then the next one is the completing karma. In Tibetan, it is dzogche. Okay, what is completing karma? Within one lifespan, the effect of the projecting karma is only one. But the effects of the completing karma can be innumerable. Millions of completing karma can act simultaneously. Some virtuous, some non-virtuous karma, they can all act simultaneously. Okay, to give an example, let's say that you are born, of course you are born as a human being, and the same, in a well-off family, let's say, in a well-off family, and but you're born as either mentally retarded or physically handicapped. So as a human birth, which is very precious, but they're physically handicapped, is a problem. And yet you have so many servants, like 4, 5, 6, 7 servants to take care of you. There are so many people forget about having the servants. You hardly can get even something to eat. Forget about the servant. Whereas in the case of that person, there are 4, 5 servants to take care of you. There is virtuous karma, effect of the virtuous karma. And then the once in a while you easily become ill. There is effect of negative karma. And you have good facilities, medical has facilities, good karma. So we see that within this, there are innumerable, the good karmas operating, bad karmas operating. All these fall under the category of what is known as completing karma. You may be wondering why this label, projection karma and the completing, why this label? Okay, to give an example, it's like this. Let's say that you learn about the Ngari Gazeling Center. Where is it? It is in Guwahati. Oh, I like to be a part of Ngari Gazeling, which means that I should go to Guwahati, move there. And then you call Mr. Bhaskarji, can I buy a flat around nearby the Ngari Gazeling Center? Yes. Now there are so many flats coming up. So you can buy one flat. So the person will sell you one flat. So you're projected in this flat. But this flat, interiors, there are nothing really there. So you have to hire somebody to make the interiors. The curtain, the sofa, the television set, the kitchen, all these things you have to fix. So they say this basic flat is just one. You can stay there for like say 20 years, 30 years. It's just one. But while you stay there for like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you can change the interior as many times as you like. But this building you cannot change. This flat you cannot change. As long as you're in the flat, you cannot change the flat. Which means that you cannot, okay, I want to change the roof, I want to change the floor. No, it's just a part of this, the building, huge building with like 20, 30 flats. You cannot change the flat. No, you cannot change the parts of the flat, meaning the whole wall, whole ceiling, so the flat basic skeleton remains the same. But the interiors you can change every year, or if you would like, you can change every month also. So what makes things which you can easily change within? These are the metaphors for the completing karmas, and which you cannot change as long as you are there in that flat. The flat remains the same, the one flat. So that is like the effect of the projecting karma. So the flat is the metaphor for us having taken birth as human being. That's the projecting karma. And as in that flat, sometimes the electricity is not working, the fan is not working, or the water is not working, and sometimes they're working so well, and you will change things, they become so nice, sometimes not nice. You're away from your flat for like 2 months, then it becomes so dusty, things are falling down, and you go there, you fix them, it looks so nice. So likewise, our body sometimes can become ill, sometimes it can become very healthy, and sometimes your mind is at balance, sometimes your mind is very disturbed. So these are all effects of the completing karma. Okay, so this is one part. And then the next is the uncertain and the definite karma. This is one thing that we really need to keep in mind. Uncertain karma and the definite karma. Uncertain karma is mangebele in Tibetan, mangebele. Definite karma is ngebele. Okay, now if you understand this concept so well, this will greatly help us to avoid the misconception revolving around karma. People abusing the concept of karma. We can easily solve these problems. Okay, so how does it work? What is uncertain karma? What is definite karma? Say the karma is action which will ripe into result. This is karma. Then they say that they say, let me give you some karmas that are very powerful and some are less powerful. So less powerful karmas, they are known as uncertain karma, and the very powerful karmas are known as definite karma. So I'll give you some examples. Okay, so the point is that the witches, they say some karmas are very strong and some karmas are not so strong. The very strong karmas, they are referred to as the definite karma, which means that the effects we cannot really stop. We can hardly stop. I will not say that it cannot be stopped at all, but very difficult to stop from ripening the effect. Whereas the uncertain karma, we can easily stop the ripening of the karma. Okay. So let me, and of course, through the question and answer session, I would highly recommend you. To ask me questions. In the questions and session, I welcome your questions. Questions related to your own personal experiences, or say there's some confusion, clarification is required, or this is what is happening, and how can we account for that pertaining to the law of karma. So this is what we need to explore. It's very important. Okay, let me give you one the example. Say that for example, let's say some people. Okay, recently I have a friend who was tested COVID positive, and he was hospitalized. And in the hospital, he really had a nightmare experience. That was what he narrated to me. Say in the ICU, one patient comes and who was much healthier than himself. Then he would be put on one bed, and the next day gone. Next day died. And then another patient comes, again much healthier, who actually can speak, very healthy, and in 2 days' time, again gone. And he was, when is my time? When is my time? I'm worse than health-wise. I'm much bigger than them. So when am I going to die? Okay. Finally, he came out of ICU, and now he's very healthy, very strong. So what I'm saying is that there's some who seems to be so strong simply dies, whereas others who seem so weak, okay, it's a matter of 1 day or 2 days, and finally comes out, makes it. So what is that? What is that? It's the effect of the karma operating. And where it says that when the karma is when you have the karma not really die, somehow, even though you go through very difficult times, which otherwise they would the result in your the disappearance or the death, but it doesn't happen. So let me give an example. This is let's say that a train, as of now, say a proper train, a proper heavy trains, express trains. If you want to stop them, if you want to stop the train, you have to stop from at least like 1 kilometer before the destination. You have to put the brake on with 1 kilometer before the destination. So let's say that if there is a toddler, which is like say the 10 meters away from the train, and you are like 20 meters, okay, you are next to the train, and you see that the toddler is there, and the train is faster than you, and you can actually hold the train, but you cannot stop the train, and you can go faster than the train. So what will the train do? That no doubt the train will crush the child. You cannot really stop the train. Whereas if it is a toy train, little big, but toy train which you can hold and stop, and the child is there, the train is running there next to you, you see the child there on the track, you hold it and you can stop the train. Whereas the real massive express trains, you cannot stop them because of that inertia, because of the weight and the inertia. Whereas in the case of this toy train, inertia is much less, so you can easily hold it and stop it. So the momentum of the big train, this is a metaphor of the effect, say the definite karma operating. Is it that this train cannot be stopped altogether? No, we can stop it, but what stops this train must be extremely powerful energy. Extremely powerful energy. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible, but not with say one person or two persons. No, it must be extremely heavy, the force which is against, so force the similar or bigger force than the train, but against the force of the train. If that happens, then we can stop the train. So likewise, when such a heavy karma, definite karma is operating, we can't stop the flow of the negative karma, but the counter force must be equally very strong. Oftentimes, this does not happen. So therefore, also definite karma, when it operates, then the unfortunate things happen without any expectations. Okay, so now with this, why I'm saying there's misconceptions between law of karma. Misconceptions happen. Okay, this happens. Then I don't think in the West, mostly it happens in the East, where there's the law of karma, belief in law of karma is there. And the parents, they believe in the law of karma, and the children, they abuse the law of karma. So the parents, as the exam approaches, the children, they don't, study. They all hang after the mobile. They're seeking the likes. Then they watch Instagram, then the Facebook, and then say, okay, I ate this, cheesecake. I ate this, and how this like, here so many likes, here so many likes. This is how children spend the time. And the parents are really worried. The exam is coming now, so please don't do that. Study. And the children would say yes, but always hanging after the Instagram. Then the exam comes and the child fails. And the parents tell the child that, look, you failed in the exam. I told you to study well, you did not study. What's the response from the child? Mom, what do you do? I don't have the karma to pass the exam. So what do you do? So the parents, and then the mom, you also believe in karma, right? Yes, I do believe in karma. So what do you do? So I don't have the karma to pass exam. So therefore, this is what happened. Okay, this is the abuse of the law of karma. This is not the real understanding law of karma. So yes, this child, does he or she have the negative karma to fail the exam? Yes, but that karma is not a definite karma. It's an uncertain karma. Just as he or she has the negative karma to fail to be failed in the exam, he or she also has the positive karma to pass the exam. Both karmas are there. Both karmas are there, but both are uncertain karmas. So because the uncertain karmas, you can greatly, it is in your hand. If you put effort, you'll pass. If you don't put effort, you'll fail. So this says the abuse of the concept of karma, where the parents, they don't know the karma concept so well, then the children may abuse this concept. So in other words, the law of karma doesn't mean that you don't do anything and finally you blame the karma. The point is that the law of karma says that you have to put special effort. Put special effort, that because the karma is your karma, your action. And your action now can modify the previous karmas. Previous negative karmas are operating, and what you do today can actually stop these negative karmas from giving the effects. So your karma is in your hand. So since that karma, the negative karma which you did in the past, that is now acting. So you have the karma, the potential to stop that as well. Okay, so therefore, with the concept of karma, if you know the concept of karma so well, it is that you have now, it is in your hand, what kind of karma to accumulate, which can counteract the effect of the past negative karmas, and which will give rise to more of the positive results in the future. Everything is in your hands now. So therefore, he already says that with the concept of karma, if you get the correct understanding of concept of karma, then this will make you to work so hard now. Not look for excuses, but work so hard. It'll make you a really hard worker to make your, the goals accomplished. Okay, that is what is known as the definite karma and the uncertain karma. And when we go through difficult times, some people who have some concept of the God, some people who have the concept of karma, they tend to blame God. They tend to blame the karma. Say, I did not do anything bad. And why should God punish me? Why should karma punish me? And so forth. It's all because of the misconception of the concept of karma. So although you are a new person in this life, but as a person, you are not new. You came from the past. Say, for example, say that okay, let's say some people, they think that okay, I want to practice dharma in Delhi. I cannot practice dharma in Delhi. I cannot practice dharma. I want to practice dharma so much. And then in Delhi, what do? You're very lazy, right? You're very lazy, and then they say selfishness, self-grasping. They're all very intense. Anger, all these issues are there. And then you think that, okay, I cannot practice Dharma so well. I want to go to Himalaya. If you go to Himalaya, so there you are a new person in Himalaya. But as a person, you are not new. You are the person with the who is short-tempered, who has temper issue, anger, the selfishness, and so on. The same person with all these bad habits is going there. You are not a new person there. In Himalaya, you are a new person, but you brought the same package from the past habits. So what I'm saying is that in this life, you are a new person in this life, but you came from somewhere, and you brought all these from the somewhere, brought all these the baggages of the karmas from the. And in this life, when you go through difficult times, then okay, now any experience that I go through should necessarily be the effect of my own previous karma. So I must have done this karma myself. So I must own this. And if you acknowledge this is amazing. So if you look at the Tibetans, I don't know that today's younger Tibetans, I don't know, but the Tibetans who are my age or older than me, they have this sense of acknowledging the karma, one's own karma. Something that goes wrong, some tragedies befall, on you, they're not disturbed. They acknowledge that as the ripening of the effect of a karma, a wrong karma, which one did in the past. Okay, it must have been the ripening. It must be the ripening of a karma which I did in the past. You acknowledge it, and they're very calm. What do you want? You want calm, or you want to be calm, or you want to be agitated? Agitated, and your blood pressure shoots up, your sugar level shoots up, you don't have sleep, and then you end up in the hospital, and then you have to pay all the huge bills. You want to do that, or you have the tragedy, but you become calm. You don't have to suffer your sleep. You don't have to suffer you don't have to go to hospital. You don't have to pay heavy bills. So what do you want? Of course, sensible person wants to be calm, peaceful, not having to pay extra bills, not having to go to hospital. That is much wiser. So who can do that? Person who acknowledges that experience of pain that I'm going through is the result of the negative karma which I must have done in the past. With this acknowledgement, you become calm. This is amazing. This is amazing. This greatly helps us to keep us calm. So in our practical life, we are bound to go through difficulties. There's no exception to anybody, to be very honest. There's no exception to anybody. Kings, queens, prince, princess, prime minister, presidents, CEOs, or the beggars, or the educated, uneducated. No, girls, boys, no exception. Anyone is bound to go through challenges, worst of the challenges. And how can you help? This reflection on the karma, this to be the effect of the ripening effect of a definite karma. When you acknowledge that, you feel so calm. This is why the Tibetans. Okay, now I'm saying this again. I'm not talking about the Tibetans today. Today, Tibetans, I don't know. They may be the same or they're different. I don't know. But for sure, the elder Tibetans in general, they're very calm and peaceful. They're not easily agitated because they see that all these are the vulnerabilities is created by one's own previous karmas. That is acknowledging the effect of the definite karma. That helps us greatly. And good thing that I'd like to share with you is that good news that I'll share with you is that if you do this, acknowledging that what are you going through now as the effect of the negative karma which you did earlier. So this is the acceptance of the law of karma as the basic framework or the fabric of the operation of the universe. When that happens, this is so precious. This is said to be this is said to be the principle which helps you to purify enormous past negativities, negative karmas. This acceptance helps you to purify your negative karmas greatly. And this acceptance helps you to accumulate so much of post karma. This is amazing. You don't have to do anything. Just gaining conviction in the efficacy of the law of karma. And then when tragedies befallen you, accepting that as the effect of the karma which you did in the past yourself. And then calmness happens to you. And in the process, so much of purification happens. And no doubt, each one of us, we have accumulated so much of negative karmas in the past lives. They're all being purified because of this conviction and application that within one's own life. Okay, this is extremely important. This is one thing. Then the next one is next one quickly I'd like to share with you, and then we will I'd like to invite some questions. The next one is the individual karma and the collective karma. Individual karma and the collective karma. Okay, let's say that say for example, say out of 10 people in a group, only one person suffers from the COVID-19. Let's say only one person, and the rest they're all perfectly fine while they're in the same exposure, but only one. So which means that is the effect of the ripening. That is the effect of the ripening of the individual karma of this person. Whereas the world today, there's 7 billion human beings affected by COVID-19, whether directly or indirectly. Say all the children who are tested negative, but their education is hampered. And the business, the CEOs, or all the people there in the corporate world, although they might not have they might not have been tested positive, could be positive, but still the living is being affected badly. There's also, in other words, this COVID-19, no doubt, is the effect of the collective karma of the beings, at least human beings. And not only human beings, believe it or not, in some places, not only human beings, believe it or not, in some places, even the stray dogs, they're not getting food. Because all the hotels, they're closed. They don't get this food nowadays. So some of the NGOs, they deliberately have to go to feed the stray dogs. So this is the meaning of the collective karma. And in a family, families whole can suffer from any kind of problems. And the family whole is become so unhappy because of one person creating disturbance in the family. The whole family have to undergo this suffering for 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, so forth. It's the effect of the collective karma. And then after a while, one gets out from the family and freed from this heaviness. You wake up and then the disturbance, irritation happens. You're free from that. You come out, and then you're free from that. You feel the calm. You feel the peace in your mind. You wake up, there's a peace in your mind, which means that now your share of the collective karma is completed now. It's exhausted. Now you're experiencing the happiness. Okay, this is about the individual karma and the collective karma. Okay, we'll stop here. We have 17 minutes more. If you have questions, I'll be very happy. Any questions related, and particularly if they can be like some issues, or say okay, if this is about the karma, then how to explain this seems like contradiction, and these things, if you can bring this up, would be really very helpful. Okay, any questions? Please raise your hands if you have questions. Okay, Smita ji.
You hear me, Geshala?
Yes, Smita ji.
Geshala, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I had two questions. One is first, even the karmic seeds and the latent seeds, they are all empty of inherent existence. So how are they dependently originated, and how do they cause a result at a given time?
Yes. Second question.
And the second thing is, what is my current thought? How much of a role does that play in fructifying of past seeds?
Okay, good question. Number one, the karmic seeds. You accumulated a karma, negative karma or a positive karma. It may not be always negative karma. It can be even positive karma also. Positive karma or negative karma. And this karma, it leaves a seed in your mind. In other words, let's say that I become so angry at one point, extremely angry, and shouted at the person. So there I make negative karma. And this negative karma, till either you purify this, or it invariably gives rise to the result in the future. And then the next moment, let's say that the next moment, Raviji comes. Krishna, what happened? Right? Is there anything I can do for you? Right? I feel so much at calm. I'm so happy. Okay. And then, oh yeah, I should remember Ye Dharma mantra, which means that I'm experiencing agitation because of my own negative karma, not necessarily because of this person of my negative karma. Okay, I think about it, and then my mind becomes calm. When mind becomes calm, this agitation subsides. That negative karma accumulated subsides, but it is not. It has not disappeared. It is still in the form of the seed. It is in the form of the seed, inactive seed. It can anytime blossom. Anytime it can blow up. Okay, so this seed that I've left, the seed, what Smitaji is saying, that even this karmic seed that are left, that is empty of true existence. In other words, this is also like dream. Everything is like dream. Everything is like the empty of true existence. So of course, this is a little technical. Some of you, most of you, I know that you are familiar with this concept. Those of you to whom this question is really new or something unheard of, don't worry. There's great opportunity to hear about it, and that later on you must study that. This is what can free you from the entanglement of the karma. This concept, to see that everything is like a dream, this alone can free us from the entanglement of the karma. In other words, you'll be totally freed of all the fears of life with this understanding. Okay, so this is what happens. Even this karmic seed is also empty of truth. It's like an illusion. So how does it give rise to the effects and so forth? The point is that yes, this is empty of true existence, but empty of true existence means that it is empty of independent existence. Empty of independent existence means it exists, but by dependence. Because it exists by dependence, the factors dependent upon which this karma operate, negative karma is operating, you're trying to manipulate, you try to change these factors, then this karma cannot act. This is how we can stop the operation of negative karma. Okay, so it doesn't mean that it is empty. It is there, but it is empty of independent existence. It does exist, not independently, but by dependence. By changing the factors of dependency, then you can change the course of this karma. One. Then the second part is, say, the present thought process that you have. How much role does it have to play with respect to the say fructifying that in the form of the ripening of the previous karmas in the future? Okay, that is a good question. And oftentimes, what is required is try to correlate this with a day-to-day life. Okay, let's say you wake up and your mother comes and tells you, okay, good morning, Smita. Okay, your mother's fine. Okay, your mother, whether you say good morning, in both ways is fine for the mother. But the problem will be, okay, let's say two brothers or two sisters or sister brother or husband wife, right? Good morning. And if you say good morning, if this is your response, so this good morning is the reflection of your current thought process. So this thought process, what is the effect on the other person? The other person feels agitated. You spoiled my whole day, right? You spoiled my whole day. I greeted you. Actually, you should be the one to greet me. Why should I should greet you first, right? And then look at your response. Right? You say, good morning. What is this? You spoiled my whole day. Okay, this is the effect of your thought process. And the other person says, very sadly, good morning. And you say, good morning. What happened? Good morning. Right? So the other person, although must have nightmare, disturbed sleep, so no energy to say good morning, so say good morning. And then you made it very pleasant, very embracing. Good morning. And the other person feels so calm and peaceful. And this person can easily explode into anger because the person did not get good sleep. And now it's so calm, peaceful. Why? That is the effect of your current emotional stage, thought process. So these are the practical realities. Each one of us, we have experienced that in our life. So this is the meaning of how your karma today can affect somebody else's karma, can affect the ripening of the previous karmas of your past. So your current karma has a role to play. It's very important to make sure that whatever is in our hand now, the past karma, we can modify this through this present karma. But this present karma is 100% in your hand now. So that should not be missed. This should not be done in a wrong way. It must be done in a very nice way to make sure that things flow according to the happiness for yourself and for others. Very good. Thank you. More questions? Huh? Bhaskar ji?
Yeah, Gisela, hello.
Yes, yes.
I have a few questions. Some you have already answered in the course of your teachings, but there's one I would like to place. How do the pujas and all and sacrifices, etc., that we do, how do they reduce the impact of karma, or do they reduce them at all?
Okay. So there's one question that you have. Okay. Say performing pujas and the sacrifices. Okay. Let's say animal sacrifice. How does it reduce or increase the effect of the karma? First, let me touch. Okay, yes, the sacrifice first. On how the karma operates. This is something we really need to know. And say what we said is the karma that we accumulated. There's no escape from the effects. From the effects ripening. Karma which you do not do, you are not accountable for that. You are not accountable for this karma. In other words, you don't have to fear or you don't have to experience the result, be it virtuous or non-virtuous. This is the basic principle of the law of karma. And the second one, what virtues that you do, the karma is, the effect is only happiness. Non-virtues that you do, the effect is only negative. Let's not forget it. Having said this, there are many people who believe in animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice, no doubt it is negative, right? No doubt it's negative. 100% is negative. So how can one experience happiness out of a negative karma? Negative karma only painful experiences. Positive karma only happiness. This is the dictate of karma. But people do animal sacrifice to get more wealth, to get health, and so forth. Okay, I'd like to speak on this. This is a very important point. In fact, at the time of, I don't know whether it's at the time of the Buddha or is it at the time of one of the great arhats. What happened was that there was a father and a son. And the story that I'm sharing with you is something which can be happening even now, 21st century. Even now, things can be happening like this, believing in animal sacrifice. So the father was having difficult times. And the father consulted an astrologer. And the astrologer said that yes, your problems will be over if you do animal sacrifice. And the father started to do animal sacrifice. And then the plight of the family started to improve. The plight of the family started to improve. The father started to engage in animal sacrifice, and the plight of the family started to thrive. They become more prosperous. Then at one point, the father was suffering from terminal illness. And the father called the son. And the father knew that he was going to die. And the father called the son and gave the instruction that, okay, look, my family became more prosperous because of the animal sacrifice. Don't stop this practice, continue this practice. And the father died. And the son, being so obedient to the father, he was continuing to do the animal sacrifice. Okay, what happened? The father, because of this animal sacrifice, he took birth as the animal to be slaughtered, as a buffalo. And the son bought him and killed. to the father in the form of the buffalo. And again, they took birth at the next buffalo, again came. It happened 7 times. It was like the father were instructing the son to kill him in the form of a buffalo 7 times. This is reality. But the father did not know about the bigger story. Now, with this negative karma of killing the animal, engaging in animal sacrifice, this is very strange. The father and the whole family had many karmas for becoming prosperous, for becoming poor. And then at that point, it so coincided. Sometimes what happens is that, for example, okay, there's what is known as, there's one technical term, the terminal lucidity. I don't know how many of you heard this word, terminal lucidity. Okay, which means that when the person is about to die, who was otherwise extremely dull and weak, and the person about to die, suddenly, for a certain period of time, the person will become very fresh and strong, otherwise could not even take a sip of water. Now can eat food. This is known as a terminal lucidity. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. In 2 hours or in 1 day, the person will die. This is indication. So when the person is about to die, then as though like something very good is happening. It's not a good sign. So likewise, having engaged in this negative karma of killing animals, then this the terminal lucidity happened to the father. The family become more prosperous. That's all because of the very strong negative karma being done. That a part of the previous karma happens in the form of immediate the prosperity, and then which will result in his own killing the next seven times. Okay, this is what it is. So the puja, animal sacrifice, this is actually a very clear indication that whoever started this did not really have a full picture, full import of the law of karma. Just see the immediate terminal effect, the terminal lucidity effect. Just experience that, and then they started this puja on the basis of this understanding. Very short-sighted, small picture, and then instead leading the people to go into the hell realm even more. So this is very dangerous, and all this must be stopped. Animal sacrifice, this is for sure. Then what about pujas? No animal sacrifice, but do some pujas. How does it help? How does it help to, let's say, curb the power of the negative karma? For example, somebody is ill, then you do some puja. How does it help to stop the negative flow of the negative karma of this person? This is another question. Okay, the puja is done by somebody else, and you are sick. And the Buddha said that your sickness is because of your own karma. Your karma cannot be shared by somebody else. So how can somebody do the puja for you that your karma of the you accumulate positive karma, that your negative karma, that your illness stops? How does it happen? Okay. In the first place, does it really help? Answer is yes. Yes, it helps, but not as effective as what you would do. Effective as the way, the manner in which you would do the puja. If you do the puja yourself, the effect will be much, much stronger. And if the puja is done by somebody who has a real spiritual power and so forth, then the effect is going to be very powerful. It is like, say, again, these are something that we can see. It's not necessary that we have to listen to somebody. Let's say that you have a major, say, a student. Let's say a very bright student, and he wants to get a college, wants to go to college, and the child is really bright, and for some reasons the child is not getting in the best college, say in Delhi, St. Stephen's College, and what is that? if I say St. Stephen's College, people from Hindu college will be very unhappy. If I say Hindu college, St. Stephen's will be very unhappy. So these two, I heard that these two are like rivals, rival colleges. Okay, so say St. Stephen's College, and then you're not getting admission, and you're expecting that to happen. So they say that, and then you try your best, nothing happens. Accidentally, you have a friend, your classmate, your classmate's mother or the father is working as some staff in the PM office. And then you tell him, then he or she tells his parents, and the parents just casually tell the prime minister, there's one very smart girl, and she wants to get caught. What happened? Why? Why talk about this? Yeah, there's one boy, there's one girl who is very smart, but he's gonna get the mission this thing. Okay, and the president or the prime minister, whoever, is in a good mood that day. Okay, fine. So tell me what's the problem? What can we do? If the prime minister or the president can, tell your private secretary to send a message to the principal of the Stephen's College, then it will be done. Then done, finish. It's not the child's effort, it's the influence of the very powerful person. So likewise, say you are sick, and someone who is spiritually evolved, really evolved in compassion, in the wisdom of emptiness, so forth, that person does a prayer for you, that person can affect. But is it that what this person done is being affected on you? No. So it is like, say, the Buddha said very clearly that what you have not done, you will not experience the benefit. So this person, the influence from someone, how can that benefit you? In fact, say the thing is that you have your own karma, positive, negative, and say the positive karma that is temporarily not operating, and the negative karma is operating. Negative karma that you don't get the seat, you don't get enrollment in St. Stephen's, is operating. And because of this very powerful the influence from the spiritually evolved person, so that makes this negative karma flowing to stop for a while. Because of that, then the positive karma starts to flow. It's activation of your positive karma that you are reaping the effect, but who contributed? So the main force is your positive karma that is acting, but that is allowed to be activated because of the influence of the spiritually evolved person. So this is how finally it is your own karma that is being activated. That is what you are feeling the result of. Okay, so this is about the karma. Okay, so we'll stop here. And Mr. Bhaskar, if you have more questions, I'd like to invite you tomorrow. I'd like to invite your questions tomorrow if you have more questions. Okay, others also, if you have questions, for sure, the karma is one thing. If you are somebody who has been who knows about the karma before, and there are many questions pertaining to that, just you can feel free to ask these questions. Okay, good. So we'll stop here, and we will do the end adoration prayer with the Half Sutra mantra. Half Sutra. Okay, let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long, and that his wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. And also let us dedicate the merits that thus gathered through learning about the law of karma, that COVID-19 subsides from this world altogether, and that all the people who died to this COVID-19 and all the people who died otherwise as well, they are to take a favorable birth with the activation of the very positive karmas, and that they meet with the dharma of compassion, they meet with the dharma of wisdom, and then each one of them become the beacon of hope, the beacon of the wisdom, to lead all beings to the state of the total fearlessness and infinite happiness. And let us also pray that each one of you, through concerted effort in the the awareness in this through the knowledge of this law of karma, how the karma really plays, how the karma determines the whole universe. With this knowledge, may each one of you be able to accumulate only virtuous karmas and be able to stop the engagement in the negative karmas. And that this you become such a role model for everyone around you, and eventually to the whole world, that whole world embraces the universal ethics for the betterment of the world, for the harmony of the world, that all the conflicts come to an end. So with this mind, let's say this Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. Gade gade paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswatyatha om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhiswaha. Okay, see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Geshe-la. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
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 Thank you, Tenzin Droma.